All right. Welcome back to the Citadel for Metal Fellowship at Progressive Rock Central. Tonight we have Ammify, and they're going to be talking about their new album, Lost But Not Hiding. And these guys are from Perth, Australia. And so that's why we're meeting this late because, yeah, it's only about 11 or so over there. Um, well, it's only about 7 or 8 here in Washington in the East Coast. But I've got Amy Phoenix. She is the lead vocalist and lyricist, and yeah,
Hi.
that's why she was talking about this shirt. I remember. Um, and then Pete Renzulo. I hope I said that right.
You're
He's a
one of the few that got it right first time. Good job.
well, thank you. He's a multi-instrumentalist and did, I think, all of the music he'll tell us on the album. And I'm going to give them a chance to say hi, and then I'm going to talk about the release.
Yeah, thank you for having us. It's really exciting to be, I guess, for anyone to be interested in what we've done here in this little corner of the earth. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what everyone will think about it. And of course, hearing your thoughts, because you've had a chance before it's released to hear the whole album. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you thought.
Yeah, so happy that you liked it. Yay, and hello.
Right. Okay, and so yeah, I mentioned the album, but it is coming out on June 14th, which is next week,
4
on
days.
Wormhole Death Records. I mean, if you're going to release a metal album, it needs to be on Wormhole Death Records. I mean, couldn't have picked a better label there.
They're
Nice.
very awesome.
Exciting.
Yeah, really good people. I like them.
All right. All right, this really is cinematic metal music, and let's start with that word, because in the press releases it mentioned that you guys believe you're making sin metal or scene metal. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but cinema related,
Yeah.
or movie like music. And I agree. I absolutely agree with you. But what did you mean by that? And oh yeah, I guess before we jump into that, I probably should have you just talk a little bit about your background, where you came from, how long you've been recording, and that, and then just jump right into the cinemetal.
Did you go first, Amy?
And whoever, yeah.
Sure. I've been I've been singing and stuff since I was really little. Not sure. It's just one of those inbuilt things, I think. Like I was just always singing, and so do all the singing things, and I immediately loved it. And as a kid, I did lots of cute performances. Like we did the little cute groups. We had a little thing called mini pops where you go around to shopping centers and all the kids dress up and just sing dance together. It's adorable. Anyway, and then and then eventually I got into bands and writing my own stuff and things like that. And that was a million years ago. I think I've been in a few. I mean, you kind of have to do some cover stuff and some original stuff. And God, I think my first performance was when I was 6. So that's 700 years ago now. If my maths is right.
It feels like that. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. My wife and I were talking about a picture shot that we did 25 years ago, and I was like, that was yesterday,
Yeah, it's a bit like that sometimes. And then when you think like, I've been doing that for 20 years, wait a minute, how? No. Oh well, we're just level, we're high level now.
Yeah, exactly it.
Multi-class a couple of times. We're good.
Tell us a little bit about your background, Peter.
Yeah, so in a similar way, I've always done music, not with singing, but more with instruments. So I'm a guitarist by trade, but I also play mandolin. I've been doing mandolin for about 25 years too, which doesn't feature on this album, but who knows, maybe album 2. So that'll be the next step. But then also I'm a filmmaker, hence why I've gone down the avenue of cinematic style music, because I do produce a lot of soundtracks for some local films here. So when I finally decided I wanted to do some just music for the sake of music, not making it for film. I thought I want to try and still incorporate those influences I had from the visuals I was using to influence my score writing and my soundtracks. So Ammify essentially is my outlet, musically anyway, not with the lyrics, my outlet from making the soundscape for visuals for music videos I know I'm going to make one day, and which I've made 2 of so far, and the 3rd one will be released soon. So essentially the music was made to serve my love of making visuals as well. So I'm getting the best of both worlds here with my music production and also my chance to flex some special effects movie making, which I love too. It's still a novelty to me. In fact, the whole process is a novelty to me. It's all exciting, you know. There's never a dull moment when I'm working with Ammy, and it's never a dull moment when I'm producing stuff to send her way to make this music.
Well, now that you mentioned all that, I got to ask you, it's not doing well over here, but I am a Mad Max George Miller fan as far back as it goes.
I bet.
You didn't get involved in that, did you?
No. I'm into the game relatively. I've only started my filmmaking stuff since 2017. So still fairly new in that regard.
I'm telling you, if you haven't seen it, go see that movie. It is unbelievable. I almost think it's better than Fury Road, which I didn't think he could top that. That was incredible.
Yeah.
But Furiosa really is. I am dying to see what the next step is going to be, but that'll be interesting. All right. But these guys made a fantastic, you got to watch their videos. Their videos are incredible.
Oh, thank you.
As he
They're
mentioned.
very cool.
Yeah. All right. What are some of your influences? Who are your favorite bands? Let's cover that real quick.
Oh, this is tough. There's so many. And I actually think I've been finding it so fun when writing this album because after we just write and I've recorded it and I'll notice the people that are coming out, you know what I mean? The influences that are coming out. And every so often I've been just leaving a little bit, like either a lyrical line or a melody line or something that kind of gives them a little bit of props for it.
Tell me about that. You hid some of those in this album.
Yeah, little Easter eggs. Yeah.
Would you be willing to reveal those or?
Yeah, I mean, it would be very cool if people can find them. There's a majillion, so I can still tell you some of them without it being weird.
Go ahead.
You know, Perfect Circle, that band, Perfect Circle. Yeah. One of the songs is a little bit finding it hard not to feel just a little bit disappointed. That's in the favorite song. Yeah, but it's like a different melody and different cadence and all that sort of thing. But I've put that in there. And if anybody knows us and is also a massive Perfect Circle fan, they're going to be like, hey, cool. Also, probably the funnest, and I'm so excited if somebody ever does find this, is in the Grief song. That's completely lyric free. It's a long song and there's lots of different singing going on through it. Obviously, it's not like a verse chorusy kind of song. So there's like one bar that starts with the same melody line as in an episode of Doctor Who. The 11th Doctor, he goes to a planet and the whole planet has to sing a continual lullaby to this monster to stop it waking up. And the beginning of the chorus of that song, live, is like the same melody of one bar.
I didn't even know that.
Very cool.
It's very cool. I like it, and many more like that.
All right. Well, yeah. Everyone that is listening to this, please get the album and then try to find all those hidden secrets.
Absolutely. Tell me if you find them because I'll be so excited, right? Because then I know you're exact same kind of nerd that I am.
Yeah.
Yes, please. And we can nerd out together with the nerdy.
All right. How about Peter? What are some of your influences? Or
well, for me, it's more an era than a particular band because I was a 90s teen. So I think like anyone who's in their teens, that era of music is when you consider your influences the most. So for me, and I was I'm ashamed to say I had a mullet by 1998. I was still wearing a mullet because I was a massive metalhead. I loved it. So I was into Pantera, I was into Sepultura. But my biggest influences musically, writing-wise, would be bands like the Deftones, obviously Tool. Funny enough, you mentioned Perfect Circle, so massive into Tool. But then again, I'm also being a guitarist. I was into Stevie Ray Vaughan, obviously into Hendrix. So a lot of my guitar playing was influenced by blues, but my writing was influenced by metal, which is a bit of a well, not really strange, but it's a bit of a mix of genres there that I found a bit of a tone that I'm used to hearing. I can recognize my own style from that because I know there's been blues and metal influenced into one thing. And
it's
that's
cool to see it come together like that. Hey, yeah, it's really interesting.
Fun, and really,
they're my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really fun. And I've sort of given myself a couple of solos in this album. I don't do too many solos, but in this album, in fact, the first 2 singles we released, The Coward's Way Out and The Truth Will Set You Free, they're the ones that have my solos in them. So it's good fun to just sort of divulge, just sort of delve into some sort of shoegazing a bit, It's good fun.
You're amazing. And it looks so cool in the videos. Also, sometimes in the songs I have to go, here's a really good part that a solo would sound really good in.
So I love it. I didn't want to be a band where and now guitar solo, but I do love putting it in where and this one here, especially in Coward's Way Out, that turned out really nice the way that came together. So
your solos are so nice though.
Yeah, I'm glad, and I really try and serve the song, not just my own ego. So
they add to it rather than just like, look at what I can do. Like you're adding to the song.
I hope so. That's really good. That's really great. So that's where it comes from.
Lots of emotion in your solos, I think. Anyway,
thank you.
We'll just steal the interview for you and talk to each other.
I was going to say, I need to jump back in here. Well, you mentioned Stevie Ray Vaughan. Have you ever heard of Colin James from Canada?
No.
He is the Stevie Ray Vaughan of Canada, I think.
Oh, fantastic.
Anyway, he was just here in the town I live is Bellingham. It's a small city in between Seattle and Vancouver, BC, British Columbia, Canada. And he just did a show here, and I haven't heard him since probably the 80s. But fantastic show. But anyway, check out his music when you can if you're into.
This is great. Again, like this is someone who's been since the 80s. I'm discovering him now, so I'm so excited to find out these little treasures, these little sort of diamonds in the rough for us, because we're the most isolated city in the world. And sometimes, even though we've got the internet, that still translates to being removed from everything out there. So it's exciting to find out names like that. I'll check him out.
All right. Now, the next thing I was going to ask is, will you tour the new album? But before you answer that, I just want to mention that I've already mentioned you guys to a few bands throughout Australia. I said, please get in contact. Has anyone gotten in contact with you already? Or not? No, probably not.
There've been a couple of bands who have commented on our posts, and I can see a few of them liking it. A lot of them from Perth, because obviously we know everyone here. But I haven't heard many from over East or anything yet. But funny enough, a lot from Europe have sort of liked our posts and stuff. And I guess the connection to Wormhole Death probably had that happen. But yeah, don't know.
Definitely, I'll have these guys get a hold of you if they haven't.
Oh, good.
And let's try to put something together, because 2 of them were 2 different artists that I had reviewed, and I tried to get them together. Now they are playing together.
Oh, cool.
Excellent.
I forget where it is, but so yeah, the more I can help bands get together, get more gigs, I'll do it.
Awesome.
All right. Now, are you going to tour this album, or do you have some festivals or things you've already got set up?
We discussed it. As far as the touring goes, the ideal situation would be to tour this album as it sounds, as in it's going to need 11-piece band. So probably realistically, not anytime soon, but it's definitely something we want to do, because this music, I think, is going to be really something else when it goes live. Obviously, the album has a certain vibe, but the idea of bringing that live and adding visuals, and I don't know if you saw those shots of the 2 music videos where the band is on stage playing with a massive screen behind us. We'd love to make that for real, and that would be the goal eventually. How far away that is, I'm not sure, but the sooner the better, obviously. But to start with, we've discussed doing a setup where it's a 4-piece as an acoustic version of this whole album. So I've got my sister, recruited my sister on guitar for that. She's an amazing guitarist. And also Ant Phoenix and his other half, who's on drums. So we're trying to go as a 4-piece for now, and we're going to build towards that. Tour, not sure. Festivals, hell yeah, love to.
Okay.
What do you say?
Go ahead. Did you want to add to that?
No, that's everything. Got it.
All right, let's jump into the album itself. I sort of did my interpretation of what homesick meant after reading kind of Amy's comments in the booklet. But you tell us, what does that mean, homesick? I mean, I don't think it means the literal, but you go ahead.
It kind of does. I feel like for me when I was writing, I felt like it started literal and ended up not being. So basically, the most of the time that I wrote the lyrics for this album, I was in hospital for a little while, and I actually wanted to go home. So like that was kind of where the idea of homesickness came from. Also, homesickness is something that I've always had a big issue with as a kid and everything like that too. So it also I kind of at the time, which kind of blends into Coward's Way Out that comes next. The idea of going home is the idea of that as well. At the end of the song, it's the I can hear them singing. Kind of yeah. I can't remember that's something like that at the end. I've forgotten. But going home was essentially dying at the end there. And then Peter miraculously was psychic and made the visuals with like it was like an old folks home kind of thing. And I don't know how he magically did that. But because I think you may have done that before you even got the lyrics. But
no, just to cut in, sorry, but my interpretation of the lyrics was essentially an old woman who's basically died on a deathbed, and she's essentially saying to her family, "I just want to go home. I'm done. I've lived this life.
Yes,
I want to go back. My heart wants to be." And so, in a weird way, it was from her point of view, saying, "I want to die. Let me die. Let me go." And that's why I chose those visuals, because I thought of that. And just to be clear, we've never discussed what you actually meant by those lyrics. So that's what I got from it.
That's why it was magic. I remember I showed the lyric video I made with Peter's visuals and the lyrics, and they it made somebody absolutely bawl because they just lost somebody as an old from an old folks home just passed away. So it was it's the perfect the conglomeration of both of us, what we've put into it, it just makes the perfect story. So not literal, but somehow we've made a story, completely new story out of our own separate bits.
Yeah.
It was a great opener for the album.
Thank you.
All right. Favorite is also one of my favorites. Who is the subject of the story, though? That good friend or
no, an
family?
Adopted daughter.
I'm sorry?
Daughter. An adopted daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We took a girl in for a little while, and it didn't work out, and it was heartbreaking. But the song that I ended up writing about it, I got some lyrics that I started writing about it when it was all fresh and raw, and then when I got this music and I started writing the music to it, it started coming out calm, which is what I really liked about this song. The song is basically, you've sat down after like a lot of stuff's happened and everything hits you at once, and for some reason, even though there was a whole bunch of things that was obviously heartbreaking, I still just love her. Like it just keeps coming back to all this stuff's going on, but I still love her, and I wouldn't give up that love. It's a whole different, it was an amazing feeling, and I love the hell out of her, and I hope she's happy. Essentially, still speak to her. She's great. I'm excited about her to hit the song. What was that?
Interesting side note is during the recording process of this, I sent Ammy the backing track, and she goes, "Look, I've actually got a cold, or you had some sort of virus, I don't know." And your voice was wrecked in your mind. So you said, "Look, I'll send these through just so you know what they sound like, what I want to go for, but they're not my lyrics. Don't use them, haha." What you're hearing is those recordings, and the way that her voice was was just perfect for the song. So when I sent it back to her mixed in, I think she was sort of shocked at how it came together. And emotionally, it was just, I mean, I wouldn't say perfect, it's the wrong word, but it really was. It needed that bit of pain in the voice, the physical pain, I think, because it came across. And for me, it's the most emotional song, obviously. But because the voice was so strained physically from the virus, it really gave us something. And I think the result is just amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely, because it's so emotional, it definitely is a bit of a throat squeezer. And the first time that we played it, that I haven't had to like stop to try not to cry through, it was what we did on the radio the other day. But even when we were recording the visuals, I was trying to mime it, and it was still like, how am I going to ever sing this live? But we'll get there. It's fine. Yeah. Definitely the most difficult to not cry through song. But it's beautiful. Okay. It feels perfect for me. It feels like tied up in a bow kind of feeling.
All right. The truth will set you free. Where, I'm going to just kind of ask this generally, but because it's different here than in Australia. And I'm sure you guys have heard about America and how it's almost like we're two countries as far as what used to be the truth is not the truth to everyone. There's a half of the country that believes one thing, half the country believes another. Do you have similar situations in Australia? And where do you go to search for the truth? News? Go ahead.
Well, that's tough. I'm not very good at political things, and especially not talking about them. But I don't know. I'm one of those head in the sand kind of people. As far as I'm concerned, people are pretty okay. And I'm friends with people from both sides of politics, especially. And I've had like D&D groups where there's been people that are extremely left and extremely right, and yet they don't know that, so they get along well. So as far as I know, most people are able to have those separate things and still get along together. But if that doesn't happen, I'd probably not listening about it anyway. So I'm not the best person to ask. Why can't we all just love each other?
Yeah, we got to get along. I mean, we all are on this planet together.
Exactly.
Where do you go for your news, or do you watch the news, or?
Not for me anyway. No, again, obviously, I try to keep up to date with what's going on around the world, but I don't know, maybe because geographically we're just so removed from everything here. I mean, we literally are the most isolated city in the world, and not much happens here compared to what we see on the news. Sometimes it's easy to get stuck in your own little bubble, and sometimes out of sight, out of mind. Tends
it's a bit like that, I think. And we just get focused in on what we're doing, and the outside world's just kind of ticking along. There's not a lot we can do about it anyway, I guess.
I think I'm similar. And that's one thing also, and I guess it sort of relates to the album. There's nothing political on this album, really, is there? It's more of an internal, a mental health journey, an internal journey. It's really a self-reflective album. There's not a lot of political, there's no political voice in this album at all. And I think, and that wasn't a conscious thing. It just seems to be where we're both at. Which is an interesting thing. So when The Truth Will Set You Free came along, I think that was for you. Again, I'm talking for you. Sorry.
That's okay. Sure please.
For you, it was basically telling yourself that, wasn't it? It was about your journey and what you need to do to get past something. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Basically, you can't move forward if you can't admit things, essentially. So that's exactly it. Nailed it.
So moving through an illness, or
well, this was at the same time that I was in the hospital. The mental health hospital time was a culmination of lots of things, and a bunch of it was cyberbullying and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like there's a lot of things that happened in the time that I was also ashamed of, and then holding on to shame and guilt and stuff does not let you get well. So telling people and admitting it, and kind of going the songs like come and take me, karma, like all I can do now is admit it and try and move forward, and if you're going to judge me for it, then I can't do anything about that.
Wow.
Essentially.
No, see, I didn't see that, but
if you listen to it again now, you'll
well, now that you've helped me,
Yeah. Okay. Also, the "Come, I'm gonna get you" is fun.
Yeah, I
Although
like that part.
Ed likes to make fun of me because he's like,
Yeah.
it's Black Eyed Peas, gotta get. Oh. But it's
Yep.
not. It's cool. There's 3-part harmonies on it. Come on.
Yeah, these days, yeah. Peter, do you want to add something to that? We're
Yeah, I guess
unfortunately,
just sort of,
unfortunately, we're getting that 5-minute warning.
no,
from
I'll
the-
make it quick. I'll make it quick.
No,
So
no,
the
no.
idea
Take
of the
5
truth setting you
minutes. No,
free.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, I guess just to make that point, just to expand on Amy's point, the truth will set you free. To me, I think too many people try to pursue the truth externally. They externalize what they need from other things, and instead of looking down into themselves and being honest with themselves about what they need to do in life to make themselves better, or to improve themselves, or to change the pattern of behavior that is not working, they tend to try and look outside of that. And I think
he nailed it.
what this song does is it puts you in an uncomfortable position where you're saying, I want to look at myself here. What am I doing? What can I do, rather, to change that? Because the world isn't going to do it for me. I'm living inside this body. I need to be able to do it. And that, I think, is what's important, is that seeking the truth shouldn't be outside of you. You should be looking to yourself and being honest enough to say, I'm doing something bad here, or I can do better. So for me, the truth will set you free feels like that is the message. You know, stop hiding behind the outside. Get out of yourself and really do what you need to do to make yourself a better person, not the world. That'll come after you make yourself a better person.
Perfect.
That made me so happy.
Amy, anything else you want to add?
Oh, I'm just like, that's the best ever. So no, I'm nothing. That's great. I'm kind of like wee about Pete saying all those things.
All right. Hey, you, over and over. Talk a little bit about that.
A fun one. A little bit of a quick one. This one here was the fastest song to produce. From literally writing the first note to producing it and sending it to Ammy was about 6 hours of time. So, and it was also weirdly one of the more difficult ones to play, because that sort of bojangly shuffle feel is not the easiest thing to perform accurately. So that I had fun with that one, but it was that surprisingly really quick one to put together.
Amy?
It's fun, isn't it? It's a super fun song. I like it. I like the groove. What interesting things can I tell you about this one? It's got some lyrics in it that I started writing when I think I was about 18. And my little, I like to put, for some reason, I have this like thing that I like to put a little gimmick in every song, and I think this one was that in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yes,
the times. I think my idea was of the song was basically getting tested, obviously, people yelling at you lots, and then trying to the idea is basically that people are trying to tell you how to do the things, in the essence of everything is to get better or to be a better person or to do things right. There's also a little underlying theme on lots of these songs about men not being the greatest people in the whole world. So there's a whole bridge about all of the things that they're promising for you. I think like, you'll rescue me, won't you? You'll love me, won't you? Kind of thing. So it's kind of that. But then at the end, I think I've got this little counter melody thingy that says that we've been trying, and we're in this together. And in my mind, that was like there was a bunch of us going through that. So we're we can deal with the people that are pestering at us because we're together. Sort of
Excellent.
Thing. Yeah.
Anything else? Because they're right at the 1 minute mark. And what we're going to do, they've agreed to come back. We're going to talk more about the album and eventually get to second album and other topics as well. Anything else you guys want to add?
No, I think it's exciting to actually sit down and talk about these songs. I'm discovering stuff I didn't realize. So
same.
It's quite a cool process for me. So thank you, mate, for organising this, because otherwise we wouldn't have had a chance to do this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's every time we talk to each other, we find out that it's a little bit more awesome than we thought. Yeah. And it's just still happening, so it's pretty great. But yes, we're excited to start the second half of the interview. This.